Alright folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that break. I got a couple of things to talk about, I guess, while we wait for these videos to finish up between herO and Dark, and they are currently going underway as we speak. Number one, Mr. Boris Makarov, one of our moderators, actually tweeted at me asking if there's any chance we could get a new BaseTradeTV shirt with the new BaseTradeTV logo. And honestly, that's not hard to do. We could probably set that up very easily. So I will look into doing that over the next couple days. I will say, however, I have very specifically contacted an artist, and I'm trying to get a Christmas theme shirt made. And ideally, if we don't have it by, like, it should be by the 10th. If it's any later than the 10th, people won't have it in time for Christmas, so that would kill the point of having it. So I'm hoping we can get that pushed out. T-shirt sales really wouldn't be doing, like, this is gonna be interesting, because I guess every time we've done T-shirt sales in the past, it's very specifically been to help enhance, like, something that's been going on, like, you know, the Yord event, giving players extra money for selling their shirts. For Hell's Boot Time, that went directly towards helping make the tournament a possibility, stuff like that. These holiday shirts are just gonna be entirely for fun, so if you don't like the design, like, before we, like, release it or anything, I'm just gonna say, don't feel obligated to buy it. It's just a for fun shirt for the holidays, but I think after that we can just probably run a campaign for our normal logo on a normal shirt too. We haven't actually done like merchandising in quite some time, and I think a lot of it is because our old store, I guess, was when we were barely pulling 1,000 viewers, so we don't really advertise our store ever. But then B, I'm wondering, are you guys actually interested in shirts? I'd love to hear some of your opinions in chat. Let me know what you guys think. I know that we gave away some shirts and stuff in the past, but I'm talking about actually just straight up buying a shirt, you know, $20 or $15 or whatever the cost is. I'm still, one day I'm gonna get enough, like, candid pictures of Zombie Grub where I can make that cat shirt a reality. That, like, laser drop background and
if I approve it, fine.
We'll get, like, a photo shoot. We'll book, like, one extra day at an event specifically for a photo shoot, and we'll Photoshop Apollo in later or something.
Photoshop Apollo.
Staring at the moon.
I was just thinking, if my parents get a new kitten, do you think there's any way that a new kitten would overtake Apollo's popularity?
You know, a kitten does bring with it a lot of cuteness, but he wouldn't be so camera hoggy as Apollo.
Maybe he would. Maybe I just, you know, because when I got Apollo, it was really at the start.
On the camera because he doesn't know what it is, but he sees his mom always looking at it.
Yeah, like when I got Apollo, it was literally like a couple weeks before that MLG Anaheim community cast. That was like my first big gig, you know. So like now that like I'm in front of so many people all the time, what if this new cat's just like even better camera hog? What if I got two cats in my lap all the time?
I know it's very sad and depressing that your family lost one of your cats recently. Would they rush to replace it? I mean, you still have like 4 others, right?
So the way that it's always been is
one goes out, one comes in.
Well, actually, the way that we even got to 5 cats is that 1 went out and then 2 came in because you'd always feel bad not to bring a sibling, right? Or playmate. So it's usually suggested to like get 2, but it's a little different if you already have 3, you know? Anyway, so yeah, actually, like when Dusty died, that's when we got Apollo. And it was about a month after my mom was like, no, I don't want any more cats. Like, you're getting too old. And then my dad's like, no, we're going to get a cat. Like, just expected thing. Like, it's going to happen. And then it did. And my dad's like really upset. Like, he wants a lap cat back.
Aww.
And Pyro was his. So he's been like looking at like, you know, kittens, like posters and adoption events and stuff. It's super cute.
Okay, well, as much as I would love to keep hearing cats gush, we should probably talk about the players, because we have some pretty good ones in front of us. And a quick introduction to this late guy in the bottom left. It's the Red Zerg Dark.
In the top right says the Red Protoss. He is herO. Did he really not do?
No, we immediately talked about cats. Now, this is, of course, not to be confused with the old Team Liquid herO, who's, I think, on a new Team Revolution or something. This is the old CJ Antis herO. So, a very good Protoss in his own right. And it's quite a history of playing pretty good PvZs. But, again, we're coming up against Dark. Whether it's versus Beyond in those BlizzCon finals or anyone else, he's still got to BlizzCon, got to that 2nd place. Still one of the best Zerg players in the world.
Hell yeah. And again, I just really have not been so impressed by our Protoss players. even some of the best in the world, right? Zest, herO, stats. Stats actually has been the most impressive to me.
Yeah, Stats has been looking good and well-rounded. Zest is like sitting there like, hey, I heard you had a lot of hype. Why was that good? Like, and I don't mean to be rude, but he's just not showing, I guess, what his prowess
like,
in offline tournaments has earned him.
Yeah, it has really been that one-trick pony, which he's very good at, and generally, again, he's very good. But like his sense of like he's no longer as solid as we would remember him, I suppose. Same with herO, it seems. So I don't know how it's gonna look out. They still have their baseline skills, but they're just not as confident or as varied or as macro oriented too. Like some of these guys would really have quite the greedy builds, but no longer apparently. Like it's all about the 2-base Dark Shrine and against Zerg, and then versus versus Terran, like the fast pylon rush with like oracles and whatnot. Like I can't actually remember the last time I saw a Stargate expand into faster base against Zerg.
Ooh,
and it might be something to do with maps, but maybe it's also the patch.
That's a nice supply block as herO picks off that one scouting overlord. I would like to get caught up real quick though before the game gets too far away and thank Belsman for the new sub hype. We got Joseph Dark cheered for us a little bit ago, and then I can't remember who because it doesn't show on Twitch alerts on account of it being broken, but somebody earlier just resubbed their 34 months with the Twitch Prime sub at that. So thank you, whoever that was. I'm sorry that we missed it at the time. But yeah, it sucks that Twitch alerts is broken. I didn't realize how much we relied on it until it stopped working. Anyways, a lot of gateways coming in, and regardless of whether it was supposed to be for a Dark Shrine or not, maybe the Overlord scouting was a little bit too scary. This is going to be a massive all-in.
Yeah, so we've been seeing a lot of 4 gateways into 8 gateways. That's exactly what Zest was doing like 3-4 times. This is just like add all the gateways at once and go for it. No Dark Shrine necessary. So this is going to be hitting a little bit earlier, and I think a lot more powerful than what Dark was expecting. Because, if Dark thinks it's a Dark Shrine, he just like has a couple of units ready to go. Now he's going to see just how many gateways there actually are with his Overlord.
My God. For Dark, is it just a shrine?
No.
In China, is it just food? Okay.
Is it just plates?
I kind of forgot that. As the attack commences, this third base is going to be abandoned. I actually really like that Dark gave this up. Any attempt to survive and keep this base going would have just been a big waste. So pulling it all back, keeping it as best safe as he can. Overlord's still chilling in the main, so he knew about the gateways. He knew about the all-in. Problem is, though, I still don't know if he's got the tools to make this happen. He's been supply blocked twice now in this game at pretty annoying moments at that, too. 6 roaches on deck. Ling's going to try and dart on in and get us around. Not able to do that. I love that he pulls back with the Lings, too. Not wanting to take those Zealot Blades to the face, but he's forced to. Forcing the force fields as well. This is a drone pull, and this is getting a little bit scary for Dark.
Yeah, it is. He's got a lot of Lings in the way, some roaches, too, and +1 is pretty close to finishing up. There's a lot of sentries in this army. They don't quite have enough force field to really be intimidating, but there's still so many warpings for herO. And they will regain their energy. A couple good force fields, a couple good zealots, or adepts. And those roaches will also melt.
This is still not over yet. This I thought was going to be much worse, but oh, with the adepts getting to the main, maybe it will be. That's going to be a lot more drones going down.
Yeah. No, I thought that Dark had like a pretty solid defense, but like any like really good Protoss all in, that's even a little bit surprising. There's always going to be that test, like whose production is going to beat out whose, basically.
That Corsair Gear dodge in the main is actually really sexy. Roaches continue to beat back the front the best they can. Klondike hitting us up with the 10-month resub, and this fight goes down with a force field on the ramp. Dark could have broken this with a Corsair Gear. I'm not sure why it took him so long. Maybe it's just on cooldown, but he's starting to push this back again. The problem is, before he had a pretty nice drone count. After losing 7 or so to those adept run-bys, and maybe even a couple more now, he's down 10 workers to his opponent. And herO's got quite the production line with so many gateways up and running.
Yeah, I definitely think herO could get away with, well, Reversal of the Warprism, but also a follow-up attack as opposed to overcommitting with the army that he has. I mean, he got the third base, so you know that production won't be overwhelming. You got drones, so you know the economy will be overwhelming. And you have this Robo that was only for the Warprism initially, but can now be used to counter those roaches with the Immortals on the way. So herO could also expand, technically. He's banking so many minerals. He took his gases so late. That was, like, I think Dark's first indication that something was up, and then he actually got the scout in the main base. that it's been really hard for him to actually afford anything else. So a third base might just be like consequence of having so many minerals. But I think also a follow-up attack could do a lot of damage.
All right, just to clear up some confusion, I love our mods. I love them dearly. I love Dominch as well, but he's messing up the bets and giving bad information in chat. I don't want people to think these are replays. These are all live games being live cast, guys. Nobody knows the outcome. Please ignore the mods if they're trying to give spoilers, because they're not funny.
What is he doing?
Well, I mean, there's the chance that it's Dark versus Innovation up next, but it's not been confirmed yet, so I don't want anyone to be confused about that.
Oh, I thought he just like honestly made a mistake.
Well, that's what the bets replaced too, so I wasn't sure if he was really just not paying attention.
I don't know.
Again, I say it with love, Dom. We do have the continued aggression out of herO, and I'm surprised he's still getting around so much with this like 4 health Warp Prism, but this game continues on, and I mean, I really don't know how to rank this. On one hand, Dark didn't have that Zerg economy that was the good stuff leading into this amazing mid-game, but he still has a pretty nice army, and he's not lacking in any category, that's for certain.
I mean, herO did end up getting like 11 more probes here, so he will be able to saturate the third base, especially with his main being so low. And he even went to 2 robos. Actually, like, didn't even occur to me that one on the production tab would have been the second one. So he's going to have a lot of disruptors, but this is the first time I feel that we've seen disruptors in a macro game for Protoss versus Zerg. We've seen a couple other macro games, but it's been Colossus or mass gateway units, like the olden times. But disruptors cannot help you versus mutas.
No. But that's a great choice out of Dark to be going for mutas anyways. We've been seeing a lot of struggle when there's no Archon builds. Like, this wasn't the Dark Shrine opening, right? This wasn't Archons following it up. So there is going to be minimal anti-air. And, I mean, even if you have a lot of Stalkers, and even if they have Blink, it's not until they have, like, +2 or +3 weapons that become scary. And, oh, don't do this to me now, BattleNet. Are you... Oh, it's not me! It's not me!
The fact that you didn't notice it way before I started getting it was like, that's not right.
Okay. Woo-wee! So there's been problems with connection to the BattleNet lately, and I'm glad that I'm not suffering from it today. Anyways, as Dark is going to have to deal with this attack, that hatchery is probably going to get canceled. It might buy him a little bit of time. The mutas, I think we're really hoping to have time to go around the map and harass. They are instead going to have to stay at home and defend. Picking off the Warp Prism would probably be the biggest priority, but ooh, they catch a Disruptor. That's a nice start. That's a nice pick.
Well, the Warp Prism is also a really good pick, but those mutas, I mean, all these are nice picks. They did take a drastic amount of minerals and gas away from a ground army, so whatever's left over, is that actually enough?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a lot of Immortals. It's still a lot of Stalkers coming against what is primarily a Roach Ravager army. 11 more Roaches on the way. The mutas went straight across the map, looking to cut out some of the reinforcements. 5 Stalkers get warped in, but the mutas aren't really that important. Everything that matters is over here right now. Even if herO were to lose all of his workers back at home, with the Warp Prism having died, this attack didn't hinge on reinforcements. It hinged on winning with what he currently has.
Yeah, he's trying to get a second Warp Prism over to the battle right now, and it is on its way. The mutas are going to the third base instead of actually chasing for a replacement Warp Prism. And herO could still have this, especially if any of these Disruptor shots are pretty good. That was decent, and the Disruptor still lives. Oh, okay, never mind.
Shots getting fired, and I mean, the +2 weapons finish up for these Roaches too. Dark's got a lot of extra damage when he comes to the actual fight, but he still doesn't have anything to stop things like force fields. The Ravagers are launching their Crystal Balls over the force fields and not breaking them, so just getting corralled into this corner, this gets worse and worse. He's still microing his mutas on the other side of the map, and he's trying to kill probes, but killing probes isn't going to win in this game. He has to kill this army.
I don't know how that Disruptor survived. Now it's being protected by the Warp Prism, but that is super important.
It's off cooldown.
I think hero's production is taking it over. Like, Dark needed an army supply lead to actually take that army on.
So this is where production gets a little bit wonky, right? On one hand, Dark, maybe not with the best economy now losing that base, still has production going for him, whereas herO's lost so many probes and still losing probes on the other side of the map, his production becomes like one base worthy. Is that enough to keep overpowering? He's up 10 army supply, and his army type is really good. Disruptor looking for another shot when he can. Aggressive Miles land, a Warp Prism diving to the front lines to pick up that unit, keeps the Disruptor alive one more time.
Oh, actually blinks forward, and there's like a Ravager's left. We'll be going pretty quickly here, and I think that's going to be the game-ending move.
Yeah.
There it is, GG.
herO, man. I love that the different opener almost worked. I wasn't sure how the follow-up and the mid-game was going to go, but damn, what a good game one.
Yeah, maybe it won't be the Dark Innovation rematch, but the herO Innovation rematch.
I mean, I think the Dark Innovation match obviously has like the best story element to it, but herO going back to this finals would be cool. Not to get ahead of ourselves, though. Dark may have been going into that game blindly assuming that it was going to be the Dark Shrine with the DTs because, well, that's what it is like 90% of the time. But he's good with scouting. He's good at reading his opponents. I don't think we're going to see silly mistakes out of him. That's for certain.
Not a second time.
Anyways, before you get into the game, I just want to clarify, too. Dom, if you're listening, man, like, love you so much. Thank you so much for what you do. No hate. I just wanted to clarify for the viewers so nobody was confused what was going on. So keep being awesome, dude. A lobby invite, though, for the next game. Currently waiting. I will say I'm a bit surprised, though. I will say all the games, the players involved, like, this was actually a quality tournament with very quality players. And it's really nice seeing 3,000 people tuning in for it again. I know we peaked like 4K with Hell's Boot time. 3K with this isn't too bad either. I mean, I'm loving that there's actual viewers waking up early to watch some StarCraft, I guess.
Waking up early or just normal times, you silly Europeans?
Well, so that's the thing. I comb our stats like almost daily with like a fine-tooth comb, and I'm still blown away that America is still like our #1 viewing region. And I know people bring this up all the time. Well, you can't just compare Europe, you have to add all the countries together. And they do, and they still fall a little bit short of the US numbers. Like our core demographic are United States residents, ages 25 to like 30 or something like that.
Yep. I still like my joke.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
know. I thought it was, yeah. I toss it to you, Zombie Grub. Kick us off with these intros.
All right, if you want me to. On the bottom left, as the red Protoss, he is herO.
And at the bottom right, down one game, it's Dark, who may not be going to those grand finals after all. Reminding everyone, though, that at this point, these guys have both got $200 guaranteed to them through today's tournament, no matter what. The first place, second place match, though, whoo boy, that's a huge difference. $1,400 versus $400 for first and second place.
That was a lot of difference. It's big money for innovation.
Maybe.
Here.
I mean, I'm wondering too for these guys how much money motivates them in terms of like what they're doing. Like Innovation and Dark, these are players who already have a ton of tournament winnings and probably have a lot of money from like salary paid in Korea and all this stuff. Like, are they actually worried about not having a team right now, or are they just kind of coasting and chilling and all this money's just like awesome supplementary?
I don't know. But they don't do any, like, already starting up one or anything like that, right? That'd be insane for best of 3.
I don't believe so. I think they just do standard where if the winner loses, they do another best of 3. Although I'll have to ask to confirm.
I don't think that is the case.
Being up 1 in a best of 3, though, is seriously ridiculous as well.
Yeah, but for me, it's always been like the loser's bracket is punishments because you have to usually play in a lot of their tournaments like 4 or 5 extras. But I guess in this one it's only like 1 or 2 extras, so it's not that big of a deal. But the way the bracket's formatted, it just looks like it would just be okay. Good, you guaranteed yourself at least second place, where the person didn't. So that's your reward.
By the way, Colton Chances, he's been up all night for this. So shoutouts to you, sir. Yeah, different regions of the world. It was really weird when we were in Homesphere Cup last year. Sitting there kind of chilling, waiting to go home. Casually with like Harstam and Lambo and others watching like GSL or something. And I'm like, wait, this is on in the middle of the day here? What is this?
Okay then. Yeah. Europe, good time.
Man, I need to, I really want to try and convince Sue to start playing in some of these cups too, by the way. Streaming madman that he is.
I'm surprised he hasn't already. I mean, obviously, like, the other Koreans have got to tell him about him. But now.
I don't think that he doesn't know. I think he just actually is really enjoying streaming. Like, this reminds me a lot of like when Beyond was first getting into streaming. He would just do it all the time and not play in any tournaments or events. Anyways, herO I'm going to actually swap the overlay. I don't know why I did it like that. It's annoying. herO had such a great attack in Game 1. I'm surprised we didn't see the same type of aggression. He's going for the Twilight Council, and what I'm presuming is going to be the Dark Shrine combo with this time. I'm not saying that it's better versus worse, but it was really cool watching something different. That's for certain.
Yeah, at least it was different. So I know where I'm at too. This is also a little bit different, so it's a tactic you usually only see versus Terran, or sometimes versus Protoss, but to get an overcharge on the third base usually doesn't kill it, but there's always that chance, and even if it doesn't, it gets a lot of lings pumped out, still like cuts into the drones. But it's going to be Resonant Englaves, not Dark Shrine. Now, he could cancel Resonant Englaves and go for the Dark Shrine if he wanted to, like, trick Dark, but he would have to do it soon, and he had to stop Chrono Boosting Resonant Englaves too, which he did stop Chrono Boosting it, and he's getting all those gases. But, like, it's actually getting that point where it has to be committed, because Dark's not leaving his base, so if that even was an option, I don't think it is when, like, Resonant Englaves is 75% done.
Well, Baneling Nest is going to finish up in just a moment's time, so he'll have some tools to fight with, which will be really nice. Neither player really sitting on a super fancy drone count, but oh, my herO slaps down 2 Stargates.
I think if it wasn't the Dark Shrine plan B, then it was going to be some type of macro game plan B. That's why he took the Chrono Boost off, that's why he got the gases. Which, you know, Dark just getting 100 into that Overlord speed is already, like, done kind of wonders. herO was to really change up his plan. I think, anyway. Like, I think that was actually just a response to it.
Ooh, he catches the Stalker. That's real nice. Oh, had to go back for it. The overcharge may have gone off, but Dark got out of there with 4 lings alive, and, well, with the Baneling Nest finished up, can make maybe another 4. Where did the ones he made come in? Back at home. Okay.
Yeah. He was probably expecting the Resonant Englaves attack, right? Because even if it's not an all-in amount with, like, 7-8 gateways, you still usually push forward with the adepts you have. Now, of course, they've been nerfed. The Shade doesn't see as much, so you got to be careful. This is your only army, and your Phoenix count isn't high enough to really help yet.
I wonder how good the Overlord would be for dropping Banelings on top of the Adepts instead of trying to walk him in. Either way, that might not matter, because if Phoenix are in play, then he's going to be able to push off the Overlords, of course. +1 weapon starts up. Yo, is herO just going to be playing straight to carriers after these Phoenix, or do you think it's just going to go like 16 Phoenix deep?
That I do not know. It'd be cool to see carriers, and certainly a possibility, but Mass Phoenix has also been tripping up a lot of Zergs. They try and respond with Hydras, but they respond too late, not enough Hydras. Phoenix pick them up, Resonant Englaves, Adepts, tear them apart. It can be tricky. But herO is, of course, going for the third base. He's getting more probes. It is becoming a macro game, and One of the Dark is also recognized and is also getting, you know, his upgrades in his lair. And probably a 4th soon.
I really want to know whether this goes to carriers, and if it does, can Dark beat it? I'm hoping we'd actually see that dynamic. We're seeing so many people struggle.
Fleet Beacon. Yeah, I think that's going to confirm the carriers. If you're going to get the upgrade for the Phoenixes, that would only be because of Spire. There's no point in, like, you know, being able to lift and then shoot from farther away. Not much point anyway. So, that's interesting. There will have to be cannons down on the ground. Of course, Dark, you know, he still has to scout this and respond to it. Okay, there's the Hydralisk end. He was waiting on his lair. He's also going to invest into Banelings, I guess, to clean up the fodder that is the Adepts on the ground. But very soon, I'd say, like, well, as soon as the carriers start, it seems like they grow pretty rapidly. So when there's like 3 or 6 carriers out, it feels like it's so much less about the ground army.
So, we haven't seen a lot of people actually beat out that Golden Armada, but it was really cool watching that one game where Scarlet handled it with the Spore Crawlers and Abducts. Maybe that's something Dark will start thinking about. I'm not sure. If he clicks on these Phoenix, he'll see that +1. It might give him some indication beyond what he's actually scouted. Physics, or Psychics? I'm not sure how to say that name. My apologies, but thank you for the new sub. Hype!
Nice.
One of the Phoenix does get picked off. A little bit scary there with the Spore Crawlers and the Queens chasing it so much. I mean, the Banelings make a lot of sense. You're going to want to deal with whatever's on the ground. Usually it's going to be Adepts or Charge Lots, either way, so nobody really goes Mass Stalker with this build. That being said, 3 carriers at a time. Not going to care about the Banelings. Not one bit. Yeah. So, Dark's got to be careful. All the gas It's got one of those Hydras for the time being. It's not a wall of Spore Crawlers coming down yet either, which I think, you know, if you're going to take the Scarlet aspect of this, and you're going to put down a wall of Spores, eventually get Abducts going off, hell, investing in the Spores earlier on might not be worth, like, might not seem worth it, but I think like 3 Spore Crawlers per base when your intention is to move like 8 of those to the front lines might be worth.
Yeah, I think he just recognizes that he can do that in time. He still needs a bigger army to actually push, and that's still a couple minutes off, so he's going to wait for those Spore Crawlers, if he even makes them. Yeah, Baneling drops are always nice. I mean, Dark's also going to wait for his Hydralisk upgrades. Mothership Core will be out by then, and that's an added complication about protection.
I was really hoping he'd wait for his 2-2, or his 2 weapons, excuse me, for the Baneling drop. One-shot these probes, but it looks like they're stacked up, and the minerals being low saturation, so...
Oh my god.
That was 14 probes with 2 Banelings. That's pretty freaking sweet. He's going to go to the natural next. Phoenixes get picked off. Spire starts off immediately. He's going to think about Corruptors for this, but Corruptors aren't necessarily the answer. Corruptors are, they're good against just carriers, but if you get even like 3 Void Rays, Corruptors are no good.
Yeah, that is another complication. So, I mean, first, there's always the fact that the Protoss is scouting with the Phoenixes. So if you go Spire and no Hydralisk, then yeah, they just go Void Rays. If you go Hydralisk and no Spire, then yeah, they just go Carriers. If you add both of them, then they also have to add both. Then it becomes like a test of, well, who has better production and who's faster, like, to that maxed out army, which is generally the Zerg, don't get me wrong, but sometimes even like a 20-30 army supply lead isn't quite enough to defeat that Golden Armada. And detection is still going to be an issue. If the Overseer gets sniped, then the Mothership is just, like, totally worth it. And you'd have to have a lot of Corruptors to snipe that thing, assuming the Hydras don't get under it, too.
Burrow's an interesting choice. See if that saves some units here and there.
I don't know about this herO. I mean, he's not, like, anywhere close to maxed out, and Noah's 4th base is only just getting secured, and he's super dangerous, I don't know. He has 30 army supply up. Like, Dark has invested into a lot of upgrades and tech structures, and not quite into that army yet. So he didn't have enough Banelings against the Adepts
but
felt comfortable with, and there's a lot of force fields.
I mean, that's what's frustrating about this too. The Adepts need to be dealt with. They're unfortunately going to kill the Hydras and ravage the Hydras before anything else will. He may snipe the base and recall. I'm curious what his choice is. He's actually going to try and focus fire down some of these Queens. The Interceptors are being picked off very quickly, though. This fight for Dark, not going so badly.
Well, no, but the Adepts are not being taken care of by the Banelings, and that might cause them to shade forward to help out the Interceptors.
If Dark didn't have these extra 2 bases, that would have been really harsh losing that base like that, and worth the dedication of herO, but...
That's not cool. No, don't go for it.
1 for scouting is actually not too bad of an idea like that. I didn't realize, I just learned something. That Adept came out of the transfer stealths for a moment. That's kind of cool to see. I think it's just graphically and not like actually, but neat nonetheless.
So herO obviously saw the Corruptors popping out and will be adding a couple of Void Rays. Dark is still not a very good army supply, and he's probably going to lose these accessory bases, which is actually a pretty big deal. He's not using them quite yet, but it's something that would have been, you know, if he didn't have to replace, then it would have been a relief.
The Corruptors are not a bad choice for the current situation at hand. This mostly just carriers, and the Corruptors with their bonus damage to carriers, well, that's pretty fan-friggin-tastic, but unfortunately the problem wasn't the carriers, it was so much of these Adepts on the ground. GG's get called, and Dark's knocked out of the tournament to finish in 4th place.
Yeah, it's going to give us herO versus Innovation Finals.
This is not the TVP I expected, but for Innovation, I think the one he was hoping for, that guy has been trucking the Protoss. Seriously.
Well, herO was the only guy that took a map off of him, so... maybe a better... whoa, what is happening?
I'm typing,
I'm getting the BlizzCon intro right now for no reason.
Because it was Dark.
What does that sound?
Because you were in a game with Dark, that's why.
Obviously, I'm... Oh, because maybe I'm on random? But I didn't think this would have been in the randoms. That's so weird.
That is... I got no clue about that. We're going to go to a break, guys. When we return, it's going to be Innovation versus herO's... Innovation versus herO in the Grand Finals. We look forward to seeing you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple minutes.